Hi, everybody. Today, as usual, our channel focus on, America, China, Europe. So I'm going to share with you my opinion about what is happening in these three continents, you can say, or three regions. Let's start with the U.S. U.S. now is in the time after Donald Trump, in the Biden's time. And recently, we all learned, maybe you also have learned that recently in a talk show by CNN, and Biden was answering the question, how do you look at the Chinese human rights issue? And then Biden was saying that, recently, I had 2 hours long telephone conversation with Xi Jinping, and I talk about human rights too. He said, he said that he was like saying something like, Xi Jinping should understand that he, as an American president, he has to stick to the American value, and one of the American values is human rights, and what is alarming is. Then he was saying, we have to understand that the Chinese are suffering from humiliation in the last 150 years, and China was victimized, and also that Xi Jinping also told me that, different countries have different culture, and different culture have different norms. And the leader in that culture has to stick to that cultural norm. So, it's terrible. Basically, indirectly, he's telling us, well, we should understand that, in China, they don't look at human rights as we do here in the democratic free world, So we have to understand that. And also we have to understand, poor Chinese people or poor China has been a victim of humiliation. So, as Mike Pompeo pointed out to this, he said, hey, Biden is following the propaganda line of CCP. Because this is what CCP used to tell the world. We Chinese, we have another way to see human rights, and China has the greatest human right time now, because now most people do not suffer from hunger. We have lifted so many 100 million people from poverty. That's the best time of human rights in Chinese history. This is what they say, And then, of course, in the propaganda to the Chinese people, the CCP always tell the Chinese people, how we are humiliated by the foreign power, how the European power and American have been bullying us, and now when we want to be a strong nation, then they only talk about our human rights, they criticize it, they make trouble. Hey, an American president is talking for CCP. Not directly, but very clearly, indirectly. This is an alarming signal. I'm sorry to say that. But on the other hand, I think Biden can't go too far in, turning around the China policy set by Donald Trump and Pompeo. For example, as long as I know, every time during Donald Trump period, every time when Chinese Air Force sent a jet plane over Taiwan or Taiwan area, close to Taiwan and so on, then America would respond by, letting American warship to go through the Taiwan Strait, between China and Taiwan, as a kind of, hey, be careful, don't go too far. But since Biden came to power, People's Republic, the Communist China, sent much more frequent and many more warplanes over Taiwan, and it took long time for America to respond this time. But interesting is, at the end, it's still American warship did the same thing as in Donald Trump time. And not only that, in the whole South China Sea, remember, the name of the sea is South China Sea. Doesn't mean that it all belong to China, because this is the Chinese logic. They say this sea has been called South China Sea for thousands of years, so it must be part of China. And so in the case of South China Sea, to make sure that the waterway be free for international trading and transport, so American warship has been, guarding that, patrolling, in the waterway, and joined now by Australia, France. France has sent 3 warships to there, and even German. So it's and British, of course. So it's interesting. So on the military side, seems to be there's still a lot of tough signs showing to CCP. Now, as I said, our 3 focus, U.S., China, and Europe. In China, what I would like to mention is, interesting is the Chinese authority or Chinese propaganda, official propaganda. You guys know that in China, all media are controlled by the government or by the party, actually, not even by the government. So, and recently it was interesting that official news agency Xinhua came out with the news, be careful, telling the world, there are some Chinese company making fake vaccine, that lead to terrible consequence and blah, blah, blah. Now, how come that, normally, if it is really someone who make a fake vaccine, which has happened before in China, yes, company make fake vaccine to make money, but before they used to cover up that and not, using the most official agency to tell the world that be careful, the fake vaccine from China. And I believe there are many explanations to that behavior, but I believe the reason is they are preparing for their bad vaccine, because China tried to show the world now they are the great hero. They are the one who first came up with the vaccine that worked well and so on. But according to many scientific reports, their vaccine, the efficiency is only about 30%. So when 10 people get the vaccine, only 3 works, the other not. So, and also there has been coming report, because in China it's difficult, they cover up, So, but the reports say that many people got side effect from the vaccine. Now, I think CCP is getting themselves prepared in case one day in foreign countries they found out, and with evidence, that Chinese vaccine lead to serious problem, then they will blame on those so-called small company making fake vaccine. So they would just say, these are, those company who make vaccine and, fake brand and so on. So again, this is an old trick. When things go bad, it's never the fault of the Communist Party. It's always someone else. That they have been doing all the time. They will never blame the system. They will never blame the party. So I've been now mentioning some, so to say, negative things, but there are also some positive things happening in the case of, combating this evil party, CCP. For example, recently, the Council of Europe. Remember, Council of Europe is not the same as European Union. Council of Europe has even more members. Even country like Ukraine and Russia are member of the Council of Europe. There's some 50 countries, almost all countries. In EU, it's not all countries, it's only 27 countries of Europe. But in Council of Europe, all European countries are there. And they have recently made the declaration, joint declaration. Altogether, I think, if I'm not wrong, some 58 countries, including non-European countries, And the joint declaration, including US and Australia. What do they declare? Well, they declare jointly that they protest against so-called hostage diplomacy. No country should use hostage diplomacy. That means, well, it is very sure, it doesn't mention China, but everybody understands it is targeted against China because China is the country who has been using so-called hostages for their foreign policy. Like in Canada, when they arrested the CFO of Huawei, then they arrested 3 Canadian, yeah, and some 5 American are still arrested, and they use it as hostage. If you are nice to me, then I can give you 1 free, and 2 free, and 3 free, and so on. That so-called hostage diplomacy is like a gangster. This is a typical behavior of a gangster organization. Okay, so there's something positive that 58 countries, I think, joined this declaration. Yeah. Now another, I think, is positive thing is the awareness of the danger of Chinese Communist Party, and that is UK. In UK recently, for a week ago, they decided to kick out one of the most important CCP propaganda channel, a mouthpiece, and that is CGTN, China Global Television Network. Basically, it's the same as CCTV. So the most authoritative television network globally, run by the Communist Party. And the reason they kick them out, that means they withdraw their license, is because there is a European-wide agreement that no television, no media should be controlled directly by by a certain political party or by their state. Yeah, they are not supposed. A foreign media in Europe, yeah, should not be controlled by the government, the state, or a party. And in this case, CGTN is totally controlled by Chinese Communist Party. So it was absolutely correct. And interesting is also that 1 or 2 days later, China then banned BBC in China. Yeah, as a kind of, well, of course, they don't say it's a revenge. They say, oh, because BBC is spreading false information, fake news, and black paint China. So, but one more interesting I observed is, almost the same day, the Hong Kong government also banned BBC in Hong Kong. I mean, this is a very clear sign that Hong Kong is no longer one country, two system. It's one country, one system. I mean, even after the handover of Hong Kong to China, Hong Kong people and Hong Kong government never were hostile to British media like BBC. And now they ban it just because Beijing want to ban it, So Hong Kong become less and less different to any other similar city like Shanghai and Beijing in mainland. So unfortunately, my birthplace, Hong Kong, once really a vibrant international financial center, now is totally destroyed by the communists. So that's for today, and don't forget to subscribe and click like, and do support us through Patreon or PayPal. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.